Hey, man, the schedule's here. We are here. We are here. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle where the field meets family. It's your boy, the coach, rocking with my man, 10 grand, Grant Cohn. What's going on, man? How you doing, Grant?
I'm doing great, man. Always a pleasure to do the coaches meeting with you, man. How you doing?
It's good, man. This is just one of the OG shows, dog. You know what I'm saying? Always glad to have you on our regular scheduled time on Thursday. Feels like we're kind of doing things the right way. So let's get to it, man. Right now, we got a lot of topics. Let's get to the first one right out the bat. We just got word that the Niners are in contention right now for offering up 10% stake sale of their organization. The valuation surge. The 49ers are exploring this 10% stake of the franchise, potentially valuing the team at over $9 billion, up from the previous evaluation of $6.8 billion. The move aligns with the NFL's recent policy change, allowing private equity firms to acquire up to 10% of the team. So, what do you think about this move, period, and the timing of this move? And how do you feel about it?
There's an article that came out about an hour and a half ago in Sportico, which says that this is done. They've reached an agreement and they're selling roughly 6% of their franchise, about 6%. And it says the franchise has a valuation higher than $8.5 billion. So doing some rough math, they got roughly $500 million cash right now. Right. And I think the timing is interesting. I mean, we were just talking about this before the show started. I mean, you brought it up. Like, does this affect Brock? And as soon as you said it, I'm thinking like, yeah, absolutely. Because to actually extend Brock Purdy, the way it works in the NFL, you have to put all of that money in an escrow account. You can't just say we're going to give him $250 million, but we don't have it, but we will. The NFL actually makes you put that money in an escrow account. So it's the richest extension they've ever given a player. They don't have a ton of liquidity because they're invested in so many things, as we know, soccer teams. Now they got it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this again gets wrapped up and finalized pretty freaking soon. I think the Niners would love to have it done before OTAs or at OTAs, and I'm sure Brock would too.
Definitely. I mean, more money, more problems. The rich get richer. It is what it is. We understand that as far as the Niners as an organization, the 49er Foundation, they've already made pathways in getting things done with leads, making sure that, this gets done coincidentally right when the soccer free agency hits, so they can spend as much money as they want to in a cap-free sport. But right now, for me, it just looks like the Niners are strapped for literal cash, and that's the big deal, right? So I feel like as far as that making a difference with Brock is, what are the guarantees? Do you think any guarantees will be altered because of this? Or do you feel like the cap a different way? Being as though that Brock is in the number range of probably, I would say anywhere from the range of lowest 49 to highest 55 a year. How do you think that this is going to shape out? Is this going to get cut differently because of this news?
I think what this will end up being is like probably around the Tua deal or better. So Tua last year signed for $53.1 million per year. I think Brock will get more than that, but not quite like Trevor Lawrence. Josh Allen money, which is 55, probably be 54. But the way the Niners do it is it's usually backloaded, and those last 2 years aren't guaranteed, and they're bloated and inflated, and he'll either get restructured or traded or cut. So it'll look good for him at first. It'll be team friendly when you see the details in a few days. After that, that's probably how it'll go down.
Was that a Freudian slip? A few days?
I don't know. I don't have any information. People DM me stuff, and I don't know if I could believe them. But someone told me that it's done. It's been done. But to me, it's like there's probably formalities. It could be agreed upon and not finalized and not announced because there's formalities like this escrow thing. And all of a sudden it's like, where's the cash coming from? Boom, it's coming right here. And, you know, we've wondered like, hey, is this investment in Leeds United going to help the 49ers? Jed was clear. The answer is no. These money pools don't intersect. So if the Niners are going to actually raise money for Brock, they have to do it this way. They had to sell 6% of their team. But it's something that the Eagles have done. It's something that other teams have done. It's a nice little way to raise $500 million.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to get some cash in. And right now, that's what it looks like. It looks as though that they're getting strapped for bigger deals like Brock. And it makes them a larger and more equitable franchise. Moving forward, as far as the organization is concerned, I think that they gave up a little bit more of their business for more power. They're leveraging in the future to be able to make moves. So more things that we've seen that as the world turns with the 49ers organization. The biggest thing right now is just understanding how this is going to replicate on Brock Steele, which was covered. One more thing.
Yeah, like it's funny the timing of it because they've been rumored to be interested in doing this all offseason. And if they had done this in, let's say, February, they could have been more active in free agency, or they would have had more pressure to be active in free agency, but they wait until May 15th. And now really the only thing left to spend on their own players, you know, Brock and Fred Warner, which is fine. But it just feels to me like the Niners really didn't want pressure to go all in this year. They went all in last year. Going all in is an expensive proposition. It feels like a reset. I don't know what you want to call it, but just like they don't really expect to be the best version of themselves this year.
Yeah, like
they're story.
I agree. If there was any way that we could kind of coin this, the energy this year is that this is, managed transparency. You know, like they're trying to, hey, there's some things that you're going to see right now that are not going to make sense in the future, and we're setting up for that right now. In a way, they're trying to punt without punting, saying like, hey, we're not really expecting to do anything much this year. And the smart thing for them to do is to, when the cement's wet, that's where you can make moves. That's where you can put things where they need to be before you get back on track of where you need to go. I think that there are a lot of things that have been waiting and kind of hanging in the balance. And as far as the Niners are concerned, the actual football team has been priority number one for the past 8 years. I don't think they are anymore.
And what's interesting about the Niners is like how much pressure is Kyle really under? Some people think, man, he's got to produce. He's got to go to the playoffs this year. Other people feel like the Yorks would never fire him. Mm-hmm. So if there's an agreement behind closed doors, like, look, this is a step back year. We're going to go with a lot of rookies. You know, we may not make the playoffs this year. But like York could be like, that's okay. That's fine. You know, like that we'll get another top 15 pick next year, maybe a top 10 pick next year. We can really replace Trent Williams next year. And then in 2026, we'll be great. I mean, that could be the plan. And you know what? Maybe that's the most realistic plan, given what they've done the last few years.
I see that happening. You know, one of the things that they want to do is, I feel like the hardest thing for them to do is come back off of all of the rhetoric of, we do nothing less but championships. Right? Like we don't hang division banners. We don't hang playoff banners. And that has been a really good lever to pull when things haven't looked so good while they're trying to go get a Super Bowl. But, the tab has got to be paid. These guys have been paid a lot of money, and you don't just move on from players. Like we've seen the voided years on these contracts that we still have to pay. That's coming up, right? Being able to pay Brock, that's coming up. We already paid George. Now we have to pay Fred. He's coming up. On top of the fact of next year, I'm saying it all this season because everybody's going to be shocked next year. We're going to pay for an entire starting offensive line next season. That is going to happen. So just understand that the multiple years of us not necessarily investing in the offensive line, because that would be too much, but getting guys that can at least grow into the position, we haven't done that either. And we're going to be grabbing guys off of the street for the offensive line next year. So
I just don't understand what they did at left guard. Like no one cares about the left guard position. It's probably the least sexy position on a football team, that or right guard. But okay, you didn't want to pay Aaron Banks. I understand that. Although that's the going rate for starting guards in the NFL. Just like you're going to pay $5 million for a mid quarterback because that's the going rate. But anyway, you let him go. You didn't draft a replacement. You didn't sign a replacement. You're going with Ben Bartch and Spencer Burford and hopes and prayers and good luck. I don't understand that. It just seems too important to. I like having Ben Bartch on your team, but just to say he's our starter, like, okay, maybe.
Yeah, it's they haven't invested in it, and I'm with you. Like when you laid this narrative out, we did it together, but I have not been on this train as hard as you are. But dude, I'm getting on at the next stop. I am believing Trent Williams is playing when I see Trent Williams play. Like that's it. Like he's got to come around. I'm hearing that he's around. He's like Sasquatch. You know what I mean? It's like, where is he? So
they say they saw him. They say he was there.
They say he was there. I heard.
Didn't have one picture of him, and yet it's just like George Kittle, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Fred Warner,
Brock Purdy. Like we got everybody but Trent. So I mean, I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah,
but
I got even more suspicious when they signed DJ Humphries and Andre Dillard like back to back. Like, why?
What is that?
What do they tell those two guys to bring them over here?
Yeah, it looks like they told them that you can compete.
There's an opportunity, maybe.
There's an opportunity, yeah. So, that's what it looks like, but we got to be able to bear that out. So let's kind of circle back to the most recent news, which is we got a schedule, dog. We know what's about to go down. Okay. So we already heard that we got the weakest schedule in the league. That's been well documented. So let's really pick it apart. That's what we knew before we understood exactly who we have to. So the first 4 weeks I'd like to hone in on. I watched your show last night. I understand that you have the Niners. What do you have us going? Like what? 9-7, 7-10.
7-10. I don't expect this team to stay healthy and grow up quickly, but I could be wrong. I predicted the Niners go 6-10 in 2019, and they went to the Super Bowl. Just want to say that.
I understand that. Right now, I have them going 9-8. All right.
That's fair.
So I'm 2 games off of you. But the first 4 games are what I want to hone in on. Okay. 3 NFC West matchups in the first 4 weeks: Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams. This isn't just a fast start, but this is a chance to take early control of the division or fall right back into a dogfight. By the end of week 4, we may already know if the 49ers are contenders or chasing from behind. So within these first 4 weeks, what say you as far as your win-loss column? And what do you think about the Niners possibly coming out 2-1 in the division, 3-0 in the division within the first 4 weeks of the season? That would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's going to determine the season, because the back half seems a lot easier, and this is a stretch where the Niners could go 4-0. ESPN predicts they're going to go 4-0 right here. And I mean, they got the Saints week 2, Tyler Shook, like probably going to win that game. And then week 4, Jacksonville, probably going to win that game. So it's like your 2 divisional games. And I don't know about those games. I mean, the first one on the road in Seattle.
Right.
Seattle's defense really did a good job against the Niners in that week 11 game at Levi's, held them to 17 points, beat up Brock, shut down Christian. Trent played in that game. Right. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the Niners are going to do. Their defense is going to be super young. And then when they play Arizona, like, are they better than Arizona? So I have them going 2-2 in this stretch. Kyler's good early in the season before Call of Duty comes out. You really don't want to face him week 3. He won't be hurt. He won't be playing that game. It's a tough one. So I got 2-2.
I mean, for me, I got us going 2-2 in this stretch too. All right. I got us losing week 1 to Seattle. Who do you have? Do you have us losing that game?
I got losing that one too. Yeah.
Okay. So out of Arizona and the Rams, who do you have us losing to?
Well, Rams are week 5. Right. I got the Cardinals winning week 3 as well, and I got the Niners winning the 2 non-divisional games.
Okay, so you have them winning week 3 in the 2 non-divisional games. My biggest thing with the Rams is I believe that, we're on top of this. We're in agreement that the Rams are the best team in the division, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So definitely. So I got us losing that game. Okay. I have us beating Jacksonville. I have us losing to Seattle, but I have us beating New Orleans and Arizona in week 2 and week 3. So for me, I think that the biggest thing that I would have to look at is the Niners are going to look very good coming in if they can sweep in the division. All right. Coming out, I think that the biggest thing at Seattle on a Sunday, I just don't see it as far as what the Niners can do on offense. I really don't believe that the defense is going to struggle early. I think just because of them knowing, I think it's well known. You can't start 4 to 5 rookies and the defense not know, hey, we're the weakest link. People are going to be coming after us. And I believe that just them coming out in the beginning of the season, they're going to have a lot of energy. Guys are going to be playing really hard. They're going to be as fresh as they can be. And defense is going to give juice early. Offensively, I think that the running game is going to have problems. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this game, the Seahawks are going to walk into it with the better defense. Maybe the Niners will have the better defense in Seattle by week 18, but in week 1, with all these rookies out there, or maybe Jordan Elliott out there because CJ West hasn't earned the job yet, like I think Seattle's going to have the better defense. And then I think a lot of Niner fans or just people in general look at the offense in Seattle and be like, well, it's Darnold. He sucks. Yeah, but he beat the Niners last year. He had a really good year in the regular season last year, and he knows his system. He's worked with Clint Kubiak before 2023. I mean, they could hit the ground running. I mean, they don't have high upside, but the Seahawks are like the opposite of the Niners. The Seahawks are that steady Eddie team that is going to win at least 9 games every year. They're like the Steelers. The Niners are the opposite of that. They're either going to go to the NFC Championship game or just the wheels are going to fall off. And I think what you said earlier, you said that you think they're going to win 9 games. To me, that's worst case scenario for this team. They either need to make a run or get a high draft pick so they can get some more premium talent, because I don't think they have enough of it right now. And I still don't see how they're going to replace Trent Williams. They never liked the offensive tackles who are available. 9-8 would be a disaster.
You think 9-8 would be a disaster?
Yeah, because it's right in the middle. You missed the playoffs, but you also missed the top 10. Like, better to be 7-10 or 5-12.
Well, okay.
Now you could get fired. That's always that's the downside. You don't lose your job.
Okay, I got you, but I got some pushback for that. The reason why I believe 9-8 is actually promising. All right, I understand that getting to the playoffs is a signifier of success, especially for a team of our caliber, right? Us continually going to the Super Bowl. And I believe that the only thing that getting to the playoffs honestly signifies is last year was not a fluke and Kyle doesn't get fired, right? So but last year was a fluke and Kyle doesn't get fired. That's the only thing, in my opinion, that going to the playoffs and losing in the first or the second round would help us. In my opinion, if we get to 9 games with this team and we're relatively healthy, that speaks that a couple of things. Number one, the draft hit. Okay, the guys that we picked actually are players for us. Number two, some of the young guys have started to take over and make names for themselves. We got a lot of young guys that are going to have a lot of playing time coming into this season. 9 games for me would signify us going into the draft and not needing to get can't miss guys right away. Us being able to go into the draft and maybe packaging picks and going to go get a real left tackle if it's time for Trent to move on, if we won 9 games with him. For us to completely tank doesn't mean that we're still on a path of 2 to 3 years and then we'll see what these guys can do. If we lose bad this year, that means that the draft didn't. That's what that means to me. And then we're in a much worse position than we started.
I feel like the Niners could end up tanking in 2025 like they did in 2024, where they lost 7 of the last 8. But the first 4 games could sort of determine that. I mean, they might have in the back of their minds, this season could go bad. But if they start 4-0, all of a sudden it's like, are we buyers at the trade deadline? Like, should we go get someone? I mean, this could be very interesting. And they do absolutely. I mean, it's not like Seattle and Arizona are powerhouses, and Niners could absolutely beat both of those teams and start 4-0. The offense should be healthy. Christian McCaffrey should be at his best. The only thing with that is, like, let's go back to Christian because so much depends on him.
Okay.
It's not like he was like, there was differences between him and Dre Greenlaw last year. Dre Greenlaw rushed back from an Achilles tear and looked like himself, even though he wasn't ready. Like, McCaffrey didn't rush back. He was questionable for week 1. The Niners thought he might play in that game, and he was like, I don't feel right. And then he sat out another 2.5 months. He was very cautious. When he finally came back, it seemed like he was 110% ready. He didn't have the full offseason, but he was at least healthy and ready. And he averaged 4 yards a carry and then got hurt in 4 games. So the idea that he's like, well, he's going to have a full offseason, going to average 5 yards a carry and play 16 games this year. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know.
All right. So look, is CMC, are we ever going to see the CMC that we saw 2 years ago? No.
Maybe for glimpses here and there.
Glimpses. All right. Yeah. However, he can be intelligently used.
Right.
That's my issue.
Right.
It's not the fact that, oh, well, we can't get the same CMC that got the ball over 390 times in a season. That's okay. My issue is that you still believe that that's the same player that you have. And instead of using players around him, like I think that the kid that we got out of Oregon should play more. You know, if we go running back by committee, you'll be able to see what Christian can do. Like, okay, so the Packers game, he was horrible, right? He had over 20 snaps over 20 snaps from scrimmage. It was a bad game, all right, from Christian. But in that Buffalo game, you saw spurts, you saw resemblances of what Christian once was. And my opinion is that it took some time for him to get round up, but at the same time, he was getting the ball too damn much. You know what I'm saying? He was getting used way too freely. I think that you're not going to see Christian at the same clip as he was earlier before, but you can still get him. Go ahead.
You want to bet?
Yeah, what's up? What you want to bet?
You want to bet? I mean, what you're saying is true and smart. It's just not what the Niners are going to do, in my opinion. They're going to keep using Christian the way they've been using him. Because to me, I've been watching the Warriors a bunch the last few weeks, and to me, I think there's so much similarity between Steph and McCaffrey and how they're used. Like Steph is the system; he's the offense. McCaffrey is the system; he's the offense. And when those guys are gone, it's like it's just so not the same. Like, obviously. But it seems like you get two coaches who look so smart with these guys on the field, and then they're gone. And it's like, what's the adjustment? To me, it's like with McCaffrey, they're just so dependent on him. And I don't think that they've even accepted that they can't be anymore. You heard Clay Kubiak last week. He's like, we're gonna give him the ball as much as we can. It's Christian McCaffrey. All right. Good luck. Because I'm with you, like that's a big reason why he only lasted 4 games last year.
Yeah, you can't use him that way anymore. No. If that happens, then let's make the bet then. Over under on how long Christian plays. How many weeks?
I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
You said you want to
officially predict
you want to bet
that he's going to miss 8 games due to injury. It just feels mean.
It feels really like.
It feels kind of gross.
It feels,
but
gross.
You know what I mean.
It feels gross.
I wouldn't expect him to necessarily play like 2022 or 2023 again. Hopefully he will. Hopefully the Niners do the right thing. Hopefully they drafted Jordan James, intending to use him because it seems like what Jordan James did at Oregon. He was in a timeshare with Bucky Irving, who's kind of similar to McCaffrey and like more of a scat back type. And Jordan James got the tough yards. That's exactly what he needs to do on this team. Get the tough yards, especially in the regular season.
With Jordan Mason, that's exactly what we thought was going to happen with Jordan Mason, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, but Kyle seemed to have something in it against Jordan Mason for whatever reason. Fumbled. He didn't draft him. He seems. I mean, I'm hoping he's more invested in Jordan James. James never fumbled in college, and maybe he'll trust him as like to be a. Remember in 2022 when Elijah Mitchell wasn't quite washed yet. 2022. McCaffrey and Mitchell actually kind of split carries for a while.
It was happening
at the end of that season.
It did. He got hurt again.
So maybe if there's a guy that Kyle actually trusts, and it's James, he'll split the carries.
We can get a little bit. I mean, honestly, that would help us so much. Okay, but I found a cleaner way to do the bet. So touches, carries per game. Okay. Over under on Christian's carries per game.
Ooh.
Or touches from scrimmage.
How about carries for game? Because I mean, I'm not really worried about his receptions. It's the carries for him that are
true.
The issue, right? Throw the ball at him as much as you want. Those aren't big hits. It's the runs between the tackles where he gets tackled by 7 players. I mean, so last year he averaged 12 and a half.
Okay.
Wow. But is that true? But that's because he got hurt early in one game. Because they gave him the ball a bunch. The year before was 17.
The year before? 17?
So let's say over under 15 from McCaffrey
Over
this
under
year per game.
15? I'm saying under.
I'm saying over.
It'd be a
Saying
damn
over.
shame
They
if
can't
it's
help
not if
themselves.
it's not under. It should be under, right?
It should be
Because
under.
I'll go
It
because
should
I'll
be
go.
under.
This is what it should be, right? Let's be coaches for a second, right? We're running the Niners. The way it should be is 12 carries a game, 6 carries a game for the rookie, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe 4 carries a game, and then maybe 2 to 3 carries a game for ancillary, like third down backs, got big backs, whatever we got to do. But Christian should not go over 12 carries.
I agree. Let me ask you this question, bonus question. Do you think the 49ers think they're Super Bowl contenders?
No,
I don't think they think so either.
I
I
don't
think
think they
they
think so.
understand
Yeah.
some players who've been compensated are like, it's okay, it's part of the process, and
Yeah.
we've been taking care of them, and we'll ride it out. But I think they know it's not their year. Although funny things happen. It's a funny shaped ball. It bounces weird ways. Easy schedule. You never know. But essentially, it's not their year.
Yeah.
They
I
know
mean,
it.
in my opinion, they know it's not their year, but they're open for anything, right?
They don't
So
want
if
to
they
say it
come
out
in,
loud because
yeah,
there's money to make.
yeah, they get a lucky bounce. Exactly. There's money to make. Come on,
Yeah.
man. Like, and that's what I've always paid attention to.
Are you
But
going to
yeah,
tell your fans like, hey guys, it's just not our year, or hey, we got some new jerseys. They're gold. They're really nice.
that is such the grift. What are they doing? We got new colors.
Hey, before you guys like kind of tune out because we're 3-6, like let's
Look at this app.
Yeah.
We got something for you. Let's roll it out. They're going to be very, very accommodating this season because I do believe that they know that there's not going to be much to offer from their usual, all gas, no brakes, nothing but the Super Bowl, quest for 6.
I just feel like, look, they're pointing to the Rams. They're like, look,
Mhm.
the Rams did what we're trying to do, and they executed it really well. Look at them; they bounced back with a whole new team. That's true, but the last 2 seasons for the Rams, they've started out really slow both times.
They finished
In
strong.
2023, they were like 3-6 when they started the season.
Mhm.
Then they went on a run. So to me, that's what I expect from the Niners. They may or may not go on that run in the second half, but first half of the year, this is a defensive team, and you got 5 rookies out there. Like maybe Michael Williams isn't going to be that good until week 10. We don't know.
We don't know.
He's 20.
Yo, let's knock out some super chats and then we'll get to some prize picks afterwards. All right.
Yeah.
Lonnie, $4.99. Lonnie. Sir Cash Money. I'm so upset this morning. Even if I was sent money, I'd send it back. Wow. I hope that works out, bro. Locan 1624. Do you think Niners will make a midseason trade for wide receiver? I don't have much faith in the wide receivers on paper right now. I think they're locked in with what they.
Are we sure they're going to be
Grant?
buyers at the deadline?
Nah, I think they're gonna be
They
locked
might
in.
trade Ayuk at the deadline. Who knows?
I would not be. Well, listen. In you know what I'm saying. In the spirit of not being gross, I hope he comes back and I hope he's healthy and I hope he's everything he was before he got hurt. In the spirit of being realistic, I would take anything for him to get
Look,
out
I'm
of
just
that
trying
deal.
to connect the dots with things that Niners people have said publicly. John Lynch, he mentioned something about scouting players this year and how you want to know, like, does a player really, really love football, or does he love money and cars and women and the things that football can bring you?
Mhm.
And made me think, like, well, what do the Niners think of Ayuk? Which one do they think Ayuk falls into? Because I think before they paid him, Ayuk
Right.
was like the quintessential grinder, just loves football, not trying to be famous.
He was
And
your
then,
favorite football player's favorite football player. He
right, that was
guy.
Ayuk for the first three
Yeah.
and a half, 4 years of his career. And then it was
Mhm.
time to get an extension, and he was like making a documentary and going on all these shows, and he seemed to really love the attention. And then he got the extension, and then he bought like 3 or 4 Lambos and just seemed disinterested kind of during the season, and then got hurt. So I don't have an opinion. I don't know Brandon Ayuk like that, but I wonder what the Niners think. They were so reluctant to sign him in the first place. I wonder if it was like because of stuff like this. Does he really love football? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm just being honest, man. Like, it comes from the root, and BA was a highly recruited receiver going into school, but going into college, but he had horrible grades and
Mm.
he wasn't taking school seriously. And that's why he had to go to JUCO, is because his grades were so bad in school. So, there's been things about BA where I know that he can lock in. We've seen the greatness of what he, right? Full stop. He is a professional football player.
Mhm.
However, money doesn't change you. It just makes you more of what you were before you got. So you got to understand that. Let's get into the next super chat. So Cam Ram 88, 9-8 or 8-9 wins at most. Not like your pal Tyler said 13 plus wins. Real homer. Did Tyler say that?
Yeah, 13-4. And he had him punting the last game because they'd already wrapped up the division. God love you, Tyler.
Yeah. Gotta love Tyler.
It could happen. Well, again, the way I look at it is the Niners generally have an incredible season or the wheels fall off. So we'll see. A 9-8 season would be interesting from them.
It really would. I got him going 9-8.
They haven't done that yet.
We getting swept by the whole division, 5-12, 4-year slump. Oh man. So that you know what I love about this is that all right, so 5-12 is bleak, but I love this because fans are coming into this realistically. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be sold a bill of goods, which I love.
Honestly, like if Trent Williams were to spontaneously retire on June 2nd, that's a possibility right there.
Yes.
5-12.
If Trent Williams,
that's how scary the whole proposition is, man. It's all being held together by the 37-year-old left tackle.
Yes. It's being put together. It's held together by strings and bubble gum. It's bad. It's just
like the Warriors. It's just like the Warriors. Yeah, man, when Trent's out there, when Steph's out there, it's going to look good. But how often is that going to be at this point? At this point, I don't know.
We ate away at our depth.
Not enough. Not enough.
Nuts. This year's going to be nuts because we're not going to have like a crazy 2000. What was that? 2023. We were like the healthiest.
It's not going to be like that. But there's going to be moments where it's like, man, this offense looks great. This defense is promising, but it's like, will they ever be clicking at the same time? It feels like the offense could start out great while the defense is getting its stuff together, and then the defense could maybe catch up while the offense maybe gets hurt. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and then football is all about striking when you're hot. It's all about everything coming together at the right turn, right? And
then also get this defense cooking early. He's going to be the coordinator of the year, dude. That's pretty 100%. Low expectations with all these rookies.
I'm gonna tell you this: the quickest bounce back on our team that I see is special teams. Special teams is going to be so much better than last year. But they got to
get rid of Moody, man. I don't buy into this like it was just his ankle. He was hurt. Like, nah, man, he has no confidence. He's got to go.
Stop that, Grant. He's a 3rd round pick. You can't do that. He's a 3rd round pick.
But I feel like there's no way that they can really test to see if he's better. Like, he's going to look good in practice. The only way you're going to know is when you send him out there for that first game if he has the yips or not. I think he's yippified.
He has the yips. I think, oh, man.
Yippification. Once you get the yips, you're yipped for life.
Yay. It's over.
I don't know, man. Yippee-ki-yay. I just feel like if you're on the team and you see him at practice or you see him at the game, it's like, oh God. Oh God. Does Jake have it today? How's Jake feeling? Does anyone talk to Jake today? Like, I just wouldn't want to.
Here he comes.
Oh my God. Jake looked a little shaky.
Yippee long stockings. Here he is.
Who needs that? I just wouldn't even want to worry.
That is like, once the moniker does get put on you, it's hard to shake it.
I mean, how many games is he going to cost them this year? He cost him at least one game last year. Like, he's
all right. Okay, in his defense, he should not be tackling anybody.
No, he should not. Like, hopefully, Brant Boyer can protect him from that for sure.
Come on, man. Come on, Brant.
Hey, I'm rooting for Jake Moody. I'm Jake's biggest fan.
Yeah, he's a 3rd round pick. I'll stay there. Just the competence of it all. You got to see it out to the bitter end. Right?
If they tried to trade him right now, do you think they could get anything?
No.
No. No. What kind of question is that?
What is that?
No.
All right.
Absolutely not.
Justin 499. 49ers should get Jalen Ramsey or Jair Alexander, both reported to be available via trade. Green and Stout are improving, and an injury will cook the room. I don't know, man. Jalen Ramsey or Jair Alexander are not long-time answers. That would be, you know what this is? This is one thing that we have to start realizing as a fan base is that good teams, good franchises allow themselves to have bad teams so they can still save the organization. Bad teams chase after looking good year after year and mortgage their future and their money doing so, knowing that they have no opportunity to win, period.
And that's what they did last
That will
year.
be. And
And that's what they did last year. And that's what they feel regret and remorse for doing. So I think they're trying to do the opposite this year. And if you listen to Robert Saleh, he's like, they asked him, like, how are you going to bring back the speed and violence to your defense? He was like, well, I think the youth will take care of that. I think the whole point and plan is to get super young. Also,
get young.
They won't say it, but I think they're positioning themselves for 2026. And if you're thinking like that, then the young guys have to play as much as possible this year, because the more they play, the better they'll be in 2026.
Better they'll be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This is a prove it year.
It's a growing pain year.
This is growing pains. That's what this is. So you don't do that by going to get Jalen Ramsey or Jair Alexander. That's why I don't
lazy.
receive,
because that's what they did last year with Devondre Campbell and like D Winters. You would at least know, or he'd be further along now if that hadn't happened.
100%. Another thing as well is that you want to know what you have in your guys. So let's say that we're close, where we hit a patch in the season where we go on a run. Ride out with what you have. Our rookies need that experience. You don't go get another hired gun to come in and take away valuable experience from your homegrown guys just to go lose in the second round of the playoffs. All right, we got to wake up and understand where we are. All right, let's move into the next one. Sean 999, thanks. Can Kyle spams players, coach? He needs a team of B+ to B- players. Any elite players will be force fed. Grant, have you noticed a player type Kyle Shanahan doghouses?
No, I haven't found an overriding theme in the players he doghouses. Who does he? Jordan Mason, Brandon Ayuk. I don't know.
Oh, I know what it is. Everybody that's in Kyle's doghouse betrays his trust. And what's psychotic about it is that Kyle looks at betraying his trust as in like fumbles, like, or you can't block on a certain down, or it's like if he doesn't feel as though there's an emotional connection to you doing what he wants you to do, he's out on you if you make mistakes. That's why.
I think it's heavily about the meetings too.
Players.
Like with Jordan Mason, he's like, he's not good in meetings, and he does. And I think Jordan Mason was like, yeah, I'm just good at breaking tackles. And I think with Ayuk, when he got doghoused in his second year, he was maybe expecting to just be handed the job. And Kyle was like, no, I'm going to make an example out of you and give it to Trent Sherfield because he had a good camp and you didn't take it seriously. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's things that it's players that challenge Kyle's insecurities. And one thing that Kyle has a very big insecurity about is his authority in football spaces. He wants to be taken seriously. He doesn't want to be looked at as a nepo baby. So when you get guys
a
pushover, exactly. And when you get guys who challenge that and make Kyle seem as though their challenge is authority, you go in his doghouse because you're challenging really his ego, and he doesn't like it.
Yeah, as opposed to someone like Debo, who's like never was in Kyle's doghouse, even though didn't run hard when he wasn't getting the ball, didn't block well, but like he somehow stayed in Kyle's good graces.
Yeah, because Kyle feels as though that, mentally there's leverage. Debo is always going to be loyal to me.
And he's not challenging Kyle the way that
it's not. He would never
did by wearing the wrong shorts and being like, what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he gets a little bit of cred off Debo, street cred. We'll go there later. That's a whole nother discussion. Kyle and his players that he loves from certain culture. So look, Lonnie 199. I think at least 2 of the rookies on defense hit. That'd be good. I like all of them to hit. That'd be bad in a sense where, all right, out of the 4 guys who we got who are going to play in Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins, CJ West, and Nick Martin. Okay, let's just stick with those 4. Or you can add Upton Stout in there. Who are the 2 that can't bust? 3. Give me
Mikael and Collins.
Okay.
Those guys got to be 3-down players. Good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Good ones. Because, I mean, CJ West, 4th-round pick, if it doesn't work out, okay, c'est la vie. You still have Jordan Elliott. Nick Martin, You still got D Winters,
D.
Upton
Winters.
Stout. You got other DBs. You could work. You got Lenore could play in the. If those D linemen don't work, like what else you got?
What was the
Yeter,
draft
Gross, Matos. What you got?
Yeah.
Nothing.
What was the draft even for?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, if you drafted Cleveland Farrell with your first pick and like Javon Kinlaw with your second pick, dude, just fire everyone.
Yeah.
Screw.
Time for you to go.
Yeah.
Kyle McAndrews, $2. Thank you. Can we get a hopeful Fernando?
Fernando for hope.
That's good.
For the hope.
So, hold on. Let me see. My bad. Oh, and Sean 99. Coach, $10 for Grant to teach Coach how to say my
It's
name.
Sean.
It's Sean? It's not Sean?
It's Sean.
Hold on. So hold on. Help me out. Number one, SHAWN SEAN. I've never seen SH.
I've seen SHON plenty of times.
For Sean, you see Sean?
Sean.
Don't do
Hell
that.
yeah.
I've never
Absolutely.
seen that. All right, so that's one. Two, I know an actual Sean. So
I think that's the baller's way to spell Sean. Because if you're going to take a name that a lot of people have, spell it a little differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is more like phonetic.
Sean Green, 2 N's. That's right. Sean Green.
Let's move on to the next topic. No, let's get some prize picks in.
Prize picks, baby.
Let's go. Hey, you know what, Sean? Now that I know, thank you for correcting me. I'm coachable. See what I did? Let's get
some prize picks real quick for tonight's games. We got Denver, Oklahoma City. Who you like in this series? Denver's kind of whooping them.
I'm going with Denver, bro.
What do you think about Jokic? 28.5 points, more or less, more or less.
Jokic is the guy, man.
He's the guy.
Quietly.
Look at him.
So, I mean, I know we're not going to touch on this, but you do want to have a moratorium for the Warriors. They fought hard.
They fought hard. It was interesting to see that they couldn't win one game without Steph. That really shows, one, how great Steph is, and two, how different the NBA is in the NFL. Like in the NFL, you lose your best player, people are like, well, next man up. And in basketball, it's like, you're screwed. You're not winning any. You're done. Done. Yeah. So anyway, Jokic, 28.5. We're going more, right? I mean, look at his face. He's not playing around.
Yeah, Jokic is looking like, I don't even want to be here to take this photo. I'm ready to play now.
Right now.
Took this at halftime.
Yeah, he already has 17 points.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray, 21.5. He's good. He went for 28.
He's doing his thing, man. He just had 28, and it looks like he's on an uptick. I'd say 28 is good.
Okay, well then what about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? They've kind of put the clamps on him a little bit. Oh, he gets to the free throw line. 30.5. That's a lot.
All right, well, you know what? 30.5 is the number? Nah.
Yeah, more or less.
I'd say less. You know why?
Shay.
Because Denver's going to try to close.
Yeah. Well, in a closing game, what do you think of Russell Westbrook and such efforts? He had 4 points in the last game, 6 in the one before that. But Russell, he's just waiting.
He's just waiting to give us that explosion of 5 points next game. So I'm going to stay under.
What about Michael Porter Jr.?
Michael Porter Jr.? Oh, nothing. That's trash. Where did he go?
He
fell off a cliff.
The building. All right, last one. Aaron Gordon, South Bay's finest, from San Jose. I went to college with his older brother. I used to play 2K with Drew Gordon. It's a true story.
Is he
not quite as good as Aaron Gordon, but he was good at 2K. Really good at 2K.
Was he a rager? What do you play?
I'm not saying anything off the rack. Those are secrets.
What position did he play?
He's center for UCLA.
Was he big? He played the 5?
He was big. He was good.
No, on 2K, did he play the 5?
Oh, that was a long time ago. That was a little hazy.
2K guy. I had to let it go. 2K's trash.
That was like 2009.
Oh, dog.
Playing with like J.R. Smith on the Nuggets.
Did Michael Williams sign? Grant?
Huh?
Did the Niners just sign Michael Williams?
Oh my God. Stop everything. They signed their rookie.
They signed their first round pick. All right, let's get to the next one, bro.
Aaron Gordon, last one. Points, rebounds, and assists, 26.5. He's a do-it-all guy. But he didn't get there last game.
I'm going to say more. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's lock it in. Oh, there it is. Locking it in. Flexing the play. Submitting the lineup. I think I won That's the line. Hold on. I want to see. Get out of here. View board. Yeah. I want to think I won yesterday. Passed.
You won yesterday?
I think I won. Yes. Win. Look at that. Look. Buddy Hield.
That's fire.
They're pretty fire though, right?
You know
Jimmy
what I
Butler.
love about
Count on
Prize
him
Picks?
being super pass. Yeah, dude. Because win all the time.
The prizes.
Anyway, that's it. Those are the prize picks for the day. Download
You
the app.
awesome on these, man. Download the app. Get in there. Pick. I've heard you get prizes. I don't know.
Get prizes. That's why
Get
they
prizes
don't call
if you
prize
pick.
picks for nothing. Okay.
It's in the name. Do yourself a favor.
All right.
Hey, man. That was awesome. I love
That's
the
so
prize
good.
pick situation. So look, let's move into our next topic. This is going to be like kind of like a mosh pit of topics, but let's kind of get into exactly where we stand. Built in by, how big is it that from the Rams to Bucks gap? So after the Thursday night clash with the Rams in week 5, the Niners get a rare 10-day break before facing the Bucks. Could this extra time be a turning point? The Bucks are the only playoff team that the Niners beat last season, which means that they look to be a stronger opponent for them this year. I like what the Bucks did this offseason. We'll find out if this mini bye helps them regroup or if the momentum stalls heading into the physical stretch. So, do you think that this rest will help us?
No, because I think early in the season, what this team is going to need isn't rest. I think the rest, they'll need it later. The problem is that you're facing Matthew Stafford week 5 on a Thursday night game. You're going to have to get 5 rookies. And, is Malik Mustafa going to be back by then? I mean, what's this defense going to look like against Stafford week 5? And then what do they face after that? I mean, this is a really tough gauntlet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold
definitely,
on. I got it.
Definitely. You talking about after week 5, we have Tampa Bay, Atlanta in week 7, Houston in week 8.
Yeah, let's talk Tampa first. So Tampa, the Niners beat them last year, but they didn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin or Wirfs.
Wirfs
I want to say Wirfs was also out. So
yeah.
I think they should be expected to win that game.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Niners didn't. That was the only playoff team they beat last year. That's crazy.
Well, one thing that I want to talk about is I looked at some gaps last season, right? Some key takeaways from last season is that we had short weeks. Okay. Now, in short weeks, meaning less than 6 days, the Niners beat the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday night, right? We won, but we also lost to the Rams in week 15. We ended up 1-1. All right. So for long breaks on 10 plus days in last season, we had a losing record of 1-2. And we had 10 days rest coming into the Chiefs game. We lost that game in week 7. We had 14 days off. In the 10 in week 10 because of the bye, and we beat Tampa Bay. All right, in Tampa. But then in week 16, we had 10 days off as well, and coming in, and we lost to Miami. So we were 1-2 with our biggest stretches of rest last season. And going into just the record of normal days rest, we finished off 4-6. So I don't really see any type of correlation between rest going into playing teams this year. I mean, last year you would probably look at, we were the most traveled team in the NFL as well as having a hard schedule. But I just don't think rest. I agree with you. I don't think that rest is going to be able to cause any type of factor on us winning or losing games this season. It's really just going to be about what we bring into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be about how quickly they can get that defense to grow up. And it's like week 5, huge test. Week 6, huge test against Baker Mayfield. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Then week 7, Bijan Robinson is one of the better running backs in the league. Week 8, you got the Texans. Stroud is really good, in my opinion. I mean, then you got to go. So, like, what's so tough about the first 9 weeks, the wheels could fall off in the first 9 weeks.
Right.
They have 6 road games of the first 9 games. And it's like, in that last stretch, they got week 5 on the road in LA, then week 6 on the road again in Tampa. Come back, play Atlanta, go back on the road to Houston, go back on the road to the Giants. That's 4 road games in 5 games. That's crazy. And then you come home and you get to play the Rams. I mean, to me, when it goes bad for the Niners, the wheels fall off. And if the wheels fall off, it's going to fall off right freaking here.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Mac Jones playing out the rest of the freaking schedule.
And then, to be honest, there's another thing that I wanted to bring up with the October game, the October squeeze. I think we don't notice this right now, but even though we have an easy schedule, uh the Rams on Thursday night, Bucks on a Monday, and the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. That's 3 games in less than 2 weeks. All right, so we have 3 games in 13 days.
Say it again. Say it again.
That's going to be the Rams on Thursday night, the Bucks on a Monday, and the Falcons on Sunday Night Football.
Okay. Yeah.
3 games in 13 days.
Yeah. That's a quick one.
Right. Yeah. So that's also something that we're going to have to look at. Depth is going to get tested. Mistakes are going to get magnified. You think that we can stay upright in this stretch? So it's not so much as I think what we really got kind of fooled into this schedule is just the opponents. Like, oh, we got a weak schedule, man. You know, the Niners got a weak schedule. We don't have to see Kansas City. We don't have to see the Bills. We don't have to see the Ravens. But the way these games are rolled out, there's pitfalls, right? There's a lot that they're going to have to do to be able to replicate some type of consistency throughout the season.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to give them excuses, but this does seem like a lot of travel early. So like first, I mean, Seattle's not far away, but that's a tough game. Let's say they win that. I don't think they will, but let's say they win. Now they have to go the next week to New Orleans. That's hard. And let's say they win that game, but you come back and you're exhausted, and now you got to play the Cardinals, who are a good team, especially early in the season. That's rough. And then you keep going, and it's like, okay, now you got the Rams, and then it's not too far away, but then you have to go across country next week against Tampa. Tough. Then you come back and play Atlanta. Like, are you exhausted for that game? Then you immediately have back-to-back East Coast games again in Houston and New York. Like, do you stay in Atlanta between the games just to not come back? And then you come back and play the Rams and the Cardinals. It's like, that could be bad. Or they could just breeze through it because Christian McCaffrey is a future Hall of Famer and they have a lot of talent. I don't know. Maybe they will go 13-4. I just changed my mind. They're going 13-4.
I don't know. They do the travel aspect of it again. We did kind of get screwed. We bounced back from coast to coast within the first 4 weeks of the season twice. We go to Seattle, then we go to Louisiana. Then we come back from Louisiana, and then we go to Arizona. We go from Arizona to Jacksonville, all the way back out to Florida. Then we come back from Jacksonville, and we come all the way back to go play the Rams. We play the Rams, then we got to go out to Tampa. All right? We'll get a little bit, and then not even keeping us out there to go play Atlanta, which will be right up the road. We got to come back home to play Atlanta, then to get all the way back out to Texas. And then while we're at Texas, fly out to New York, then come back home to play the Rams. The travel alone is going to beat them up, right?
They have back-to-back road games 3 times.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And like they always have a tough decision to make. Do you want to stay East Coast between a Houston Giants game? Because if you do, you might lose the game that you come back from because you're going to be on East Coast time. You'll be jet lagged. Or do you want to go out to Houston, come back, and then fly to New York and risk losing to the Giants because you're exhausted? That's a tough one.
It is. One more topic, bro. Trap set. Don't sleep on these matchups. Texans, Giants, Panthers. These games don't scream danger, but every year, easy wins flip the season. Which one should we be circling before they sneak up on us? Are we overlooking any wrong team that could be the difference between a top seed and a wild card scramble? What teams do we think are going to be in the bag that we really need to pay attention to? I got one circled right away. Chicago in week 17.
Yeah, to me, Chicago is going to be a good team this year. Like, they signed 3 really good offensive linemen. Like, the Niners are going with Ben Barch, and he might work at left guard. The Bears got Joe Thuney, like the best left guard in football, and they got Drew Dahlman, and they got Jonah Jackson. Like, they were not messing around. Ben Johnson, I think, is really good. I think you're going to see that the Lions are going to take a big step back without him this year. And the fact that the Niners have to face Ben Johnson and the Bears at the end of the season is bad news because they'll have the whole season to get their stuff together. You want to face a first-year coach early, I would think. So that's a tough one. And then I'm looking at Cleveland, man.
Yes.
Cleveland, because it's late November. It could be a weather game. And then their defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, Kyle's like 1-9 against him, something crazy. That's the original wide 9 guy. It's the reason why the Niners use the wide 9, because Kyle can't figure it out, can't beat it, or at least when Jim Schwartz is running it. And then I don't know who their quarterback's going to be, but Niners lost to PJ Walker over there, so it may not matter. And again, if Trent Williams isn't healthy in November, late November, right, and they have to block Myles Garrett with DJ Humphries, it could be pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one that I see out there that could be a sneaky trap game is Carolina. I'm a Bryce Young guy. I think Bryce Young turned on and kind of found his way near the end of the season quietly. A lot of people didn't recognize. But one thing that you have to realize about Carolina is that they got their receiver. They got him their guy. So they got some big time receivers. They got an offense over there now. Carolina could sneak up on us, man. That's not the easiest win that we can get with. And to be honest, we don't know what Bryce Young will be by week 12. That could be a tough game moving in, and then going to go see Cleveland that you just mentioned. So there's a
Ted McMillan's going to be a tough matchup for Lenore and Stout. He's so big. They're going to need Bernardo Green. Yeah.
And then Xavier Legette. He's big as hell too. Right. So they got 2 big receivers. This is not going to be this isn't going to be just an easy win. Carolina is going to be, they're going to be coming over to come see us on the road. And like I said, we don't know what Bryce Young will be by the time he gets here, right? On top of the fact that he is mobile, and we struggle with that as well. Now, we don't know exactly what our deficiencies are going to be as we bear out our new look defense, but from currently constructed, Carolina is not an easy win for us. I don't think so.
The Niners didn't have any easy wins last year. They had a couple, right? Like Patriots, Jets. But essentially down the stretch, they didn't have any easy wins. They lost to the Dolphins. Hold on. 26 minutes ago, this comes from NBC Sports Bay Area, Matt Mayoko. Sources, Humphries 49ers have not yet agreed to reported contract. Interesting. Veteran offensive tackle DJ Humphries has not agreed to terms with the Niners as previously reported. Multiple sources told NBC Sports Bay Area on Thursday. Humphries appeared to be heading to the Niners in the days after the 2025 NFL draft. His representation announced on April 29th that the sides agreed to a deal, but that contract was not finalized and nothing appears imminent. Humphries remains a free agent after appearing in just 2 games during 2024 due to injuries. Blah, 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 blah. Interesting. What do you think?
I mean, DJ Humphries not signing. The Niners are trying to toe a tough line with him. I will tell you this. If he hasn't signed yet, then he's not just coming in to be a backup because that's a formality. That's just a deal. What he's trying to do is get incentives together. That's what it sounds like. You know, you don't argue over a deal that's supposed to be cookie cutter if you're coming in with a starting left tackle already here. The only time that you struggle with a deal getting done when you're coming in as an offensive lineman with his cachet is if we're trying to get the particulars right on what money do I get paid when I play? If I don't play, what type of money can I be looking at? And there could be a bottleneck on that decision right there because the Niners are not understanding what they're going to get from Trent Williams, so they don't know how to pay DJ Humphries.
I don't know what to make of this. Does this mean that they are more confident that Trent's coming back? It seemed like DJ Humphries, I mean, Andre Dillard's signing to be a backup. That's fine. He was a backup last year in Green Bay, but like DJ Humphries has never been a backup before. He got hurt last year. He's 31. Has he just given up on being a starter? When he signed here, I was thinking like, oh, you really think Trent's not playing or you think he's not going to play much. But if he's not signing, maybe the Niners are like, you know what? We talked to Trent. We're feeling pretty good about this. I don't know,
man. I mean, my biggest thing about it is like a guy like DJ Humphries is going to come in with his number. He's been in the league long enough. You don't debate over your number, right? You're like, in the words of Fat Joe, you know what I'm saying? My price is my price. Like, it is what it is, right? So they know what he wants. I think that, yeah, there is what they're not sure of is what's happening with Trent, whether he's coming back or not, what they're going to get from him. And if the Niners are, you know, if we take them for how they've been moving throughout the offseason, they're strapped for cash, or so they want us to, they're portraying as if they are. And they don't want to pay for something that they're not necessarily going to use that's going to get wasted on the sideline over the season if Trent actually is going to buy in. And this kind of also shows more of we're trying to see what the players are doing so Kyle can let the money guys know exactly what's happening. So, you know, look.
Let me ask you a question about Trent. So the Niners keep saying he's there or he's been there. Right. And then they'll release videos of or
everyone but
photos of people. Yeah, and he's just never in the frame.
Right.
Why do you think that is? Do you think he's there and he's requested like, I don't want any pictures? Or like, I just don't understand how, like, why they would do that. You'd be so proud, right? It's Trent.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, this the long and short of it is that when you sign with the team, they not only expect you to play, but they own it's everything. It's the media, it's your name and likeness, it's your jersey sales, it's your presence on off field things. So being able to take a picture of Trent Williams and show his presence in a media guide or showing in off-season workouts is something that the Niners would take immediately. I'm just being honest with you. This is my personal opinion. This is not fact. I don't think he's in the building. I don't think he's in the building
Or
until I
maybe he was
see him
like
in the
there
building.
for like an hour, but he didn't put anything on. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's a way that they weren't lying, but it was like not really what they made it seem like.
I mean,
Because
yeah, like
I mean, real quick, like when you pay a guy that much money, you're not just paying him to play. You're paying him also to be a face of the franchise.
that's
And
what I was trying to
right?
convey. Yeah, like it's
You're paying him to
everything.
like to be in the video, be all up in the video, and to be the guy who does the press conference. Like when we got there for OTAs, phase
He
one, first guy who
literally
talked,
dances.
first guy who talked was Christian. Like Christian doesn't want to talk to us, but it's an obligation because he got paid. Trent got paid a lot of money last year. You would think that he's there. Hey, I'd love to talk to the media. That's my obligation, but he didn't. So it makes me feel like, again, there's something that we're not getting. There's got to be more to the story. I don't know. I have no idea what it is, but there's got to be more to the story.
There's definitely more to the story because there would be no story if they would just simply make him available, right? And there's no reason for him not to be available, right? Now, okay, let's slow down for a second and be human beings. He could not want any type of media attention based off of what's going on with him personally. He had a rough off season,
True,
personally, right?
That's true.
And we don't know if that's over, right? We don't know how far that has echoed into his life.
That's true.
So let's also consider that as well.
No, I just
right?
want to point out that like Charvarius Ward went through something similar and like did communicate a little bit, which is his prerogative.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to leave space for that. But outside of that, as when we talk about literal football, yes, you don't get paid money to literally put on your cleats and go play. You get paid money for all of it. It's a 360-degree. All right. You get paid for your media involvement. You get paid for pictures, jerseys, appearances, being around, presence, mandatory fun. You got to be there. So the fact that I haven't seen him, you haven't seen him, right? And you're in the building walking around and you haven't just bumped into Trent, that's concerning.
No. We'll see what it means. Even if he decides he wants to play this year, is he going to do anything in training camp? Are we to feel like he's going to play more than 8 games this year? Because, I mean, having him is nice, but it's almost like a trap because when you don't have him, are you prepared for that? Or are you just going to lose? Because in the past, they've pretty much just lost when he's not out there. Because without him, they have maybe the worst offensive line in football.
That's our fault as an organization. We allowed ourselves to get leveraged this way. You know, I'm going to spare the conversation. Everybody's been on YouTube and heard this conversation. We did it to ourselves like plexiglass. We did it. You know what I'm saying? So it's our fault. So look, you got room for one more topic or you want to roll?
Yeah, sure.
All right, man. Let's get one more in. One more topic for the show. All right. Primetime play or primetime play? Primetime pleasure. 5 national television games this season. The lights are bright, but will the 49ers shine or stumble when the whole country's watching? I have a sneaky theory on the 5 primetime games that we have this year too. So this year, the Niners we have Sunday Night Football. We play Atlanta. All right. We got Carolina on Monday night. We got the Rams on Thursday night. And we also have Chicago on week 17. That's Sunday Night Football. And we have Indiana on week 16 for Monday Night Football, right? So those are 5 primetime games. These games make it flex.
Yeah, especially the last 2.
Yeah, I don't think that near the end of the season, the NFL world is going to have an appetite for watching the 49ers versus Indiana or the 49ers versus Chicago. Carolina may make it. The Rams game for Thursday night in week 5 is definitely going to make it. And I'd say Sunday night football against Atlanta is definitely going to make it. But Carolina, Indy, and Chicago, those games might get flexed. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, the one that might not get flexed is the Chicago game, just because Chicago might be really interesting at that point. I mean, maybe the
They may be
Niners
the
will be,
best in
but
the division.
yeah, that team's going to be interesting. I feel like what Washington did last year, the way they were able to set up Jaden Daniels for success, I think that the Bears are going to be able to do that as well. Unless
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is a total bust, but I don't think he is. I think he's a guy who led the league in sacks taken last year. He was partially responsible for that, but with this offensive line and this play caller, it's going to be cut in half, and he's going to be really good. He's got all kind of weapons, so that's going to be a game that might be, embarrassing. That could be a end of the year, like we don't really want to be on prime time, where we've lost 7 of our last 8 or something. Right. We're not. I mean, we're eliminated from playoff contention. It's the second to last game. We got to play this. This sucks.
Where do you think the Bears stand in the NFC North?
Oh man, I still believe in the Vikings. I know
Oh,
that
you
Sam
do?
Darnold. I know that Sam Darnold had kind of a Cinderella season last year, and maybe JJ McCarthy won't throw for 35 touchdowns.
Right.
But dude, like I think any wide receiver, any quarterback's going to play well in that team with Justin Jefferson. And they added a bunch of players to their defense. Like they went all in because they're not paying for their quarterback. I still like Minnesota, but I think Chicago could finish second. I could finish second. I think Green Bay has a better defense than them, but Chicago could have the second best offense in that, maybe the best offense in that division.
I think Detroit's going to fall off a cliff this year, dude.
I think so too.
With them losing Ben Johnson and all, they lost a lot. They lost coaches, they lost players. Yep. I think that he was the creative sauce that allowed Dan Campbell to kind of coach a little recklessly. You know what I'm saying? And I think that he fell back on a lot of great offense. Detroit's going to struggle this year. That's why I believe Chicago's really going to do a great job this year in the division. And I think they may beat us.
No one's scared of Jared Goff, and I feel like he's reaching that point with the Lions where it's hard to be confident as a team because you know that he could implode at any moment. Like he has these games where he throws like 5 picks. It's like, what are you doing? He does it multiple times a year. Yeah.
Hey, man. So look, that's the end of the show. Grant, this was a great one. We had a good time. What do you got for the rest of the week, brother?
I'm doing a show tonight around 6. Then I don't know. I'm planning more than 4 hours ahead of time, so we'll figure out what happens in life tomorrow. Maybe I'll be streaming about cricket, ping pong.
All right, bro. Hey, I'll be on probably with Tom probably tomorrow, or if not, definitely going to do a call-in show this weekend. Tom's my guy, man. We got to get going. We got to talk about everything. But hey, man, this is the coach, Grant Cohn. Stay low and keep your feet moving. I'll holler at you guys.